welcome back. This is Drew with Iron and Lime Fitness. Today we've got a big one. We're reviewing the Rogue FM-6 Twin Functional Trainer. It's Rogue's answer to the space-saving racks, all the multifunctional trainers. Sorinex has the Apex. Hammer Strength has attachments, right, that you can put on the back of your racks and sides of your racks. And the Aries 2.0 as well from Rep, they kind of combined it, right? It's Rogue's answer to the space-saving rack, and it's really amazing how they fit everything in there. The dual weight stack on each side, and then what they really were able to do well, and what maybe they could have done a little bit differently, and some of the inconveniences I've ran into after a couple months of use. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's talk build quality. So it is a Rogue, right, which means it's going to be overbuilt. So it's very heavy duty. The bolts, the hardware, everything is heavy and big in your hand, right? It feels very solid. I've had multiple people come work out and they have said and remarked how just the build quality is insane. The pulleys feel commercial, everything along that. So if you're looking for quality, you're going to find it here. If you've ever used a Hammer Strength or Life Fitness setup, you'll kind of have that same feel with this Rogue rack. So it's 11 gauge steel, it's 3x3, 1-inch holes, 2-inch spacing, alternating on the sides.
And one thing that's just fantastic is the alternating holes. I know this is a feature that Sorinex doesn't offer, but is one that I'm really happy that Rogue does offer because it really opens you up for putting in attachments and pins in the places you want to.
Very well done, very well designed. Rogue does a good job of testing their things before they put them out, and I think that's one of the things that they do well. The packaging, top notch. It came on 4 pallets. I ordered a couple other things with it, so there wasn't just the functional trainer, but you're essentially getting an RM6, which is just the 6-post rack, and then it's giving you the functional trainer attachment piece of it. Well, so it does come and ship freight, and then everything you buy with the rack is included, free shipping. So very good deal. If you're going to buy a lot of stuff, you're going to outfit your home gym, I recommend buying as much as you can with the purchase of the FM-6. That'll save you a ton on shipping. So with that packaging comes a lot of work. I think my shipment came in at 3,600 pounds. So it was a lot on 4 pallets. So unpackaging all of that, laying all that out is an endeavor. If you have a giant garage or a big shed you're putting it in, or a commercial gym, it'd probably be all right. I have a 2-car garage and definitely not what I would call a ton of space. So I started unpacking it, and everything was packaged extremely well. There's really no complaints on it. I think the only complaint I would have is all of the breaking down of cardboard that I had for the weeks following opening my Rogue rack. I will say, if you plan to assemble the rack by yourself, you're going to need a friend, at least for certain parts of it. One of the big parts is putting that big Rogue banner up at the top. Another one is when you are mounting the top cross members. Another one is when you're sliding the weight stacks down. All of that adds a lot of complication to doing it a solo job. I basically did as much as I could solo, assembled them laying on the ground, similar to the video that Rogue put out to assemble, but then I needed my wife and my neighbor to come help with a couple aspects of really putting it together. Now, once it is together, routing the cables is okay. You can do that. I did that solo, not that hard. Everything is extremely well organized in the sense of where you route the cables through. There's arrows. They really make it pretty easy to get through. Another thing to consider, if you are or will be relocating in any time soon after building it, I'm already dreading having to move. So in the military, we typically PCS every 3 to 4 years, at least in the Army. So I still have a little bit of time left in the Army. So I am already thinking I'm going to have to rent a U-Haul, probably do a personally procured move, just so the movers may not know how to break it down, or they may mess it up. And it is quite an investment. We're going to talk pricing a little later, but it's definitely not something that you want to build if you plan on moving in 6 months, because it won't be easy to take down and move again. It'll probably be easier to just leave it in the boxes or even order it once you move into that new place. Let's talk functionality. I do a lot of training in my gym where we're doing the old school, squat, bench, deadlift, pull ups, but I also do some cable training, obviously, the lat pull down, the low row, other things that you may need to kind of branch out a little bit. And this rack does it all. Multiple times I've had my deadlift bar in the middle, sitting on the lowest setting for the flip down safeties, and had 420 on the bar, kind of lifting it, putting it down, doing deadlift sets with that amount of weight, and there's just no wiggle from the rack. There's no complaints. It doesn't have any of that feel of sway or lack of stability that you might get from another kind of rack that may not be built as solidly. The pulleys glide smooth, really smooth. I cannot put into words enough for a video how much it feels like you're in just, I don't know, a Hilton hotel or a commercial gym somewhere where these pulleys are going to be used thousands of times. Extremely durable and easy to maneuver. And then the pull is consistent, which is the biggest thing.
And just in case you were concerned about how far the pulleys would go, I had to step over my GHG just to be able to test them out to show everyone. But you have substantial amounts of room here, so you're not going to run out of cable travel no matter how much you try or what exercise. And as you can see, they come with the D handles, the lat pull down, the low row, and the band pegs. And then we do have these monster strips too, which I've chosen to make into a storage area. Um, they're just high quality accessories. The D handles have a barbell feel to them. I think it's a 25 millimeter, maybe. The band pegs are strong. The lat pull down stainless steel. It feels just as good as the Neuro on the stainless steel Ohio bar. So I think from an attachment standpoint, they're extremely high quality, and you would be hard pressed to find better quality attachments to come with something like this automatically. Even the carabiners are high end and they feel solid. If you listen to this video, I'm going to leave the sound on, but there's an audible click when it clicks in, and it just feels good to use.
Let's talk about pros and cons. Pros: American made, USA steel. When you buy this product that it's going to come the way it's supposed to come, and if it doesn't, the company will support it. The pulleys, the feel of the equipment, the way that it does not move at all when you re-rack, 350 on the bar, it just feels solid, rock solid. That gives you kind of that good feeling that you got what you paid for. The pulleys and the height adjustment and the options that they give you when purchasing the rack, incredible. Very few complaints about that. When we talk about cons,
It's got to start with pricing. Pricing is definitely one of those things that I think is crucial, right? Is it affordable? Is it something that makes sense for you? So we'll go ahead and build this thing out, right? Bare bones wise, if we're going to build one bare bones, 80 inches, 24-inch depth, no shrouds, basic J cups, no safeties, which I don't recommend. It comes in right around that 5,700 mark, right? This is obviously if you're in a very, very tight space and a very, very tight budget, this is what you would go with. But for the sake of the video, we will build out what I ordered, which was a little bit more robust of a build in the sense of space and height. So if we go ahead and switch that to a green, which is what my wife preferred, what she requested. Basically, I was on the blue train. 90 inches, 43-inch depth, shrouds because I have children. And then I did get the regular pull-up bar, but I really wish I had gotten the stainless steel uh, monster socket bar, only because it's got a much better feel. And I would also recommend the 1-inch sandwich J cups. It's a little bit of an upgrade. However, it does give you that clearance that when you're re-racking the bar. With the 49-inch outside to outside that the Rogue has versus the 47 with Sorinex and Rep, you really need a little bit more clearance. So I do recommend the upgrading to the 1-inch sandwiches. And then I also recommend going with the flip down safeties. Those are very versatile. So this is what we're looking at for my rec, and we come in at 65.20, obviously plus tax. However, your shipping is free, which is nice, and then everything you buy with it. So I do recommend that. And one thing to highlight is I love the multi-use rack roller. Big fan of that. Use that for hip thrust a lot. I'm gonna do a video on that soon. And then the other thing is if you're gonna get the spotter arms from Rogue, that's fine. They're very nice, they're very robust. The gussets, however, come down quite a bit. So I think the lowest hole I can put it on is 7 or 8 maybe. So I can't get that really low work that I want to do. Those low barbell rows, down to load hip thrusts and stuff like that, the deadlifts. So I do have a pair of the surplus strength spotter arms, the stealth ones on order. They take quite a bit of time to fulfill, though. I think I've been waiting 4 or 5 weeks already. Um, but that's what I'd say on that, right? So all in all, not terrible.
Right, they're all pretty minor. I think that if you have the space, it makes a lot of sense to get this configuration, the 43-inch flip down safety configuration. But I also know plenty of people who like the 30 inches, and that's their preference. I don't necessarily have any issues with the 30-inch. I had a Monster Light 6-post that was a 30-inch. Keep that in mind, right? If you are considering getting the smaller one and you maybe have more space, it's something to consider. I wouldn't say I've ever missed the 30-inch that I had. One big hassle that I think should be counted on the con side is the position of the pulleys. So I usually leave them up if I'm doing work on the front post. You can leave them down and kind of do the same thing, but the cables tend to interfere a little more that way. One of these issues I've noticed specifically is when I try to put my Rogue hip thrust across, I have to thread it through the cables. So there's really no, and if I try to put it down, it interferes with the cables. So the cables have to be up basically. And when I try to use it, I have to thread it through the cables. Not a big deal, but definitely something that has been noticed. Same as the flip down safeties, and as well as the Mutant Metals dip bar that I use, which I love. If you are using attachments on those front posts, you're going to have to work around the cables at different times, and you start to learn. It's only an issue the first couple times, and then you work around it. But it is something to be considered. If I had unlimited space and if I had unlimited options, I would definitely have a standalone cable pulley system, dual cable pulley system in lat row, and then a RM-6 or a Sorinex XL or something, right? But because I am in a smaller garage, this is definitely something that saves a lot of space and saves a lot of hassle. So while it is a con, it's one that is worth dealing with for the benefits. So is it worth it? Final verdict. I say yes for the right person. There's nothing wrong with the maybe lower end or the cheaper end of the functional trainers. So if you want road quality, you train hard, and you need a compact but versatile cable system, this is definitely one that you should consider. I've had it for 6 months now, and I've trained multiple workouts, and I think that it cannot be stated enough just how versatile and reliable this functional trainer is. It's one of those things that you can kind of do everything with. If you have space constraints, consider, other racks or smaller rack or whatever. But if you have all the space in the world, I would definitely recommend checking out the Rogue FM-6 functional trainer. All right, so we here at Iron and Lime want to bring you quality home gym fitness reviews. If you like this content and you want to see more of it, please like and subscribe. I would love to continue doing it. And if you want to see anything else reviewed, just drop me a line, throw a reply in the videos, or hit me on Instagram or Facebook, and I will be happy to try and acquire that and review it for you. So thanks again for watching.